In less than 2 weeks, James and Jennifer Crumbly will be sentenced. As we've reported here on CBS News Detroit, they've been convicted for the murders carried out by their son during the Oxford school shooting in 2021.
Their sentencing represents the end of a deeply painful chapter for the Oxford community. Joining us tonight is Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard. Thank you so much for being here today.
Good evening.
So
Happy to be here.
You recently sent out a letter, really from the heart, talking about what this entire ordeal has been like over the last 2.5 years. What motivated you to send out that letter? Well,
it's affected so many people in our agency, outside of our agency, across the country, and especially in Oxford in such a devastating way. And I'll say a lot of things went terribly wrong that day, but many things went right. You know, the school who we had worked with and trained went into lockdown. The staff and the kids that were there did some amazing things that we think saved lives. The shooter never got into a classroom. So those were good things in a terrible situation. But the reason I wanted to send that out to our team was, if you go back in time, we have been training. I actually started training our folks going back to Mumbai in 2006, active shooter protocols. And then right after Parkland, I sent out a letter and said what we saw there, in my opinion, was unforgivable for a police agency. We do not accept staging. We don't accept standing outside waiting for backup. We expect, if you get there alone, to go in. If I get there alone, I'm going in. If we get there together, we're going in, but we are going in. And if that's not something that's in your wheelhouse, you need to find another job. I sent that out after Parkland. So, you know, I wanted them to think about it then, not at the door of a future tragedy. Yeah. Tragedy then came, and they did exactly what I had asked, what they had trained for. They went immediately in. They took the shooter in custody, who I think would have kept going until he ran out of bullets or was confronted either by sight or sound of us. And in fact, when we took him into custody, he had 18 live rounds left, 18 bullets, 18 more shots. And so I just wanted to kind of close that part of the chapter for our team that, like everybody else, is still struggling with that day. You know, our job is to rush past victims because we have to find the shooter first, not help people that are hurt. And so that takes a long-term permanent toll. And I just wanted to kind of express I was proud of them in a terrible situation. We hoped and prayed it would never happen. For us, preparation is a strategy, not hope and prayer. It goes with it. And they did what was asked. And I'm proud of them. And I wanted to kind of close that loop after the last criminal prosecution had finished.
Yeah, the shooting itself and the trials, it's all been just so strenuous for those families and also for the community as a whole.
Terrible.
How is everyone feeling now that there's at least some justice that's been done?
Well, you know, it's a modicum of justice in terms of the folks involved were held accountable that were part of the actual shooting. I think there's still people that have, you know, questions that they want asked and answered, and we're going to do all that we can to help them in that process. Now that the criminal trial's over, you know, some of the evidence we couldn't talk about to anybody until it was revealed in the courtroom. We didn't want to prejudice the trial or the conviction or the sentencing. But so hopefully that's going to be an ongoing process. We encourage people to get help. You know, asking for help is strength. It's not a weakness. And, you know, it's something that we're here for you. The All for Oxford Resiliency Center is there for you. There's people that want to help, including us. But we know it's tough. And there will be holes and voids that they'll never be able to fill because it's a child that's gone forever, and all those future memories, or that scar and that fear factor if you are in or around the building, or your kids are going. And, you know, I mean, I sent a letter to all the Oxford kids that went to Michigan State because we raced to Michigan State when that was happening. So now you've got kids that have been in 2 active shooter schools. And so we're trying to make sure they know we're here for them forever. But it's going to be an ongoing process. It's not one of those things where time heals all wounds. Time lets you process a tragedy and move forward. It lets you take one step after another. It doesn't heal that void.
Yeah, it's left such a profound mark on so many in the community, but really a wonderful, beautiful way to sum that all up in the letter. Thank you so much for joining us today to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate your time.
It.